Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are strapping in for what feels like one of the most intense, maybe unvarnished philosophical journeys you can imagine.
Yeah, definitely bracing.
We're plunging into the first book of the Yoga Vasistha, specifically chapters 21-26. This is really the foundation, isn't it? Where Rama has this profound breakdown about time, change, and just the sheer transience of everything.
That's right. And our mission today really is to be guides through Rama's initial, very powerful discourse of dispassion. It's called Vairagya.
Vairagya.
He's just deeply disillusioned with the world. And this section, it's his intense, sometimes frankly shocking philosophical argument against attachment.
Okay.
We're going from the small scale, attachments to the body to use, and then zooming right out to the macro level.
Yeah.
Time, death, destiny, these huge forces.
Wow.
And the core idea here, the kind of nugget, is that seeing this radical impermanence, this ultimate futility, it's not meant to be depressing. No, it's defined as the absolute only path to achieving supreme bliss. That's the twist.
Okay, so right there, that's the immediate challenge for you, the listener. Why does this text insist you have to confront, really face down the hardest, most, grotesque truths about decay, loss, death?
Yeah, why go there?
Because, according to these chapters anyway, facing the unreal things, the stuff we mistakenly think is permanent and solid, that's actually the shortcut.
The fast track.
Yeah, the fast track to knowledge and liberation. So if you want that profound realization, you apparently have to be willing to look right at the things your mind usually works overtime to ignore.
And to really accept the solution Vasistha offers later, Rama first has to absolutely define the scale of the problem, the suffering he describes. It lines up perfectly with what many traditions call the egoic state.
Okay.
And it's completely rooted in ignorance, avidya.
Right, ignorance. Let's unpack that state of bondage, because we often think of ignorance as just, lacking information. But that's not really what the Yoga Vasistha means here, is it?
No, not at all.
What's the fundamental error? The delusion?
The error is existential. It's not about facts. The core delusion is exactly this. Things that are not real are believed as real. Simple as that, but profound.
We misidentify the temporary
As the permanent.
Yeah.
Exactly, like mistaking the waves for the ocean itself. And this basic misunderstanding of how reality works, this ignorance, it's the engine. It drives all our attachment to the transient world.
And that leads to chains?
Psychological chains, yeah.
Yeah.
The sources are really specific here. This ignorance leads directly to things like greed and ambition, also excessive desires, self-esteem, pride. These aren't just character flaws. They're explicitly called the chains to the world.
Wow.
And they guarantee everlasting misery. So if the ego thrives on attaching to fleeting things, then the ego is actually what's being kept from the light of truth. It needs that darkness, that ignorance, to survive.
Huh. It sounds like Rama is basically saying our own pride, our ambitions, they're the very mechanism of our suffering.
Pretty much, yeah.
And to smash through that blindness, he uses some really shocking imagery, vivid stuff. It feels like philosophical shock therapy.
That's a great way to put it.
Designed to induce Vairagya, that intense dispassion, but through, intellectual realization, not just slow meditation.
And that's the key distinction, yes. It is a method, intense intellectual inquiry designed to rip away the illusion behind our strongest desires.
Yeah.
And it starts with the big one, right? The thing that often commands the most mental energy. Attachment to physical form, physical attraction.
Okay, let's look at chapter 21 then, the denunciation of women. Now, for a modern reader, the language here is incredibly harsh. It targets the illusion of physical beauty, which Rama seems to use as a stand-in for all kinds of sensual attachment, really.
Yes, it functions symbolically.
Why rely on such, unsettling detail?
Because the goal is radical detachment. It's not enough to just say, oh, beauty fades. The mind just shrugs that off, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Rama needs to make the end state, the inevitable decay, the decomposition. He needs to make it present now, vividly. He forces your mind to look past the beautiful surface and see the raw components underneath.
And the imagery is, undeniable. He describes the body as a mere statue of flesh, made of nerves, bones, and joints, just stripping away the whole aesthetic thing.
And the contrast is powerful. He talks about, say, breasts decorated with pearls, looking like Mount Zumru's pinnacles, mythological grandeur.
Right.
And then, bam, he bluntly says they'll eventually become a lump of food to be devoured by dogs in cemeteries. The point isn't really about the object, the body itself. It's about the sheer foolishness of attaching to its temporary form.
So the philosophical takeaway is that attachment, symbolized here by pursuing pleasure or beauty. It's like wine or flames of vice. It enslaves the mind, leads to everlasting misery. The source even says abandonment of the wife amounts to abandonment of the world, and that is called the path to true happiness. It feels like a total, almost rhetorical rejection of sensual life.
And it's crucial, I think, to remember the framework here. The wife, or the woman, is being used as the most potent symbol available for the world of duality.
Ah, a
The world of sensual desire. Rama is talking about breaking the mind's addiction to external objects, period, no matter how attractive they seem right now.
Right. So chapter 22 then applies the same kind of brutal analysis, but this time to the self, to our bodies, focusing on the inevitable decay through old age. This feels maybe even more devastating psychologically because it's attacking our own future form.
Exactly. And again, the imagery makes the process almost palpable, like a predator arriving. Old age withers the body like frost freezing a lake of lilies. And it shrieks like a heron on the top of the tree of this body. It's like an auditory assault on our illusion of stability.
And the core suffering, as you mentioned, isn't just the physical decline. It's that awful psychological paradox that develops.
Yeah.
This insatiable desire for enjoyments, but the powers to enjoy them are lacking. The mind still wants, but the body, it just can't deliver anymore.
And this decay, it's presented as purposeful. Old age is the standard bearer of the king of death,
Right.
flapping his fly whisks of gray hairs. That personification tells you this isn't random aging in the text view, it's a planned march. Deliberate, meant to show the utter folly of clinging to the physical self or youth. It really sets the stage for the bigger forces we can't control.
That's a great pivot, actually. Because if the individual body is that frail, that's subject to, like, planned destruction, what about the forces governing the whole universe?
Exactly.
Now we zoom out. From the microbody to the cosmic scale. And this is where time, death, and destiny really takes center stage, right? Making all earthly attachments seem not just fragile, but, well, completely futile.
Chapters 23 and 24 focus intensely on time, Kayla. The all-devouring sovereign lord, time is given this immense power. It consumes everything. Like an undersea fire consumes the sea, is one image used. It spares nothing. Not mountains, not even the gods.
The metaphors for time are just unforgettable and deeply chilling, honestly. Time is personified as this stealthy predator, a rat that gnaws off the threads of all thoughts about worldly pleasures.
Yeah, eating away at our plans, our hopes.
Undermining everything.
And even more dramatically, time is a self-willed sportsman who uses the sun and the moon as, like, balls to play with.
Seriously?
Yeah, and catches deluded worldlings
Yeah.
in his snare. This image of time actively hunting us, turning cosmic bodies into toys, it just hammers home human powerlessness.
And what's fascinating, too, is that this destruction isn't just a one-time apocalypse. It's cyclical. It's mandated. Time transcends creation and destruction. It repeatedly dissolves worlds, creates new ones. The text says, as children make their dolls of clay and break them soon afterwards.
It just completely annihilates any hope of a lasting personal legacy, doesn't it? Making a permanent mark. It's all just temporary play for time. Which leads us straight into chapters 25 and 26. Here, death, Kritanta, and destiny are personified. They're like cosmic dancers governing all of existence.
Cosmic dancers.
And even our simple, everyday pleasures, our mundane enjoyments, they're revealed as traps.
How so?
Seeking comfort, pleasure, described as long ropes dropped down by the hand of death that keep all mankind fast bound to the world.
So every little gratification is just another rope tying us to a sinking ship.
Yeah. The text really drives home our helplessness against these forces. We're called slaves, sold to fate and destiny, deceived like beasts of the forest.
Yeah, it's bleak language.
And Rama just questions the stability of everything we trust.
His rhetorical questions are designed to shatter faith in any manifested reality, right? He asks, essentially, what reliance can there be on us mere mortals when even demigods can be destroyed, when the North Star itself moves, when even the immortal gods are doomed to mortality?
If the entire universe is fundamentally unstable, what is the point? And this is where the text really shows its deep, non-dual core, isn't it?
Even the highest gods, Hari, Brahma, Shiva, the creators, sustainers, destroyers in many traditions, they too are ultimately absorbed into the Great One.
That inclusion is so critical. It confirms the Yoga Vasistha's underlying Advaita, non-dual philosophy. Even the divine forms, the cosmic functions, they're temporary relative to the ultimate unmanifest spirit.
So if the gods themselves get absorbed,
It means absolutely nothing in this manifested world has independent eternal existence, and therefore, logically, nothing is worth desperately clinging to. Full stop.
Okay, so this intense contemplation of suffering, of transience, however painful it feels to read, it serves as the ultimate cognitive reset. This is the method we talked about.
Exactly.
The antidote to the delusion, the suffering, is this deep inward reflection, this intellectual inquiry.
Correct. Contemplation is the action of relentlessly examining these hard truths, using your intellect to see beyond the surface appearances. That process, that's how you achieve purity of mind. And ultimately, you find the light of truth. It's like an internal alchemy. It transmutes the pain into wisdom.
And the result of all this, a profound state of detachment. Now, we do need to resolve a key paradox here. It often confuses people. On one hand, Rama urged the abandonment of the world as the path to happiness. Sounds like renunciation.
Right, heading for the hills.
Yeah. But then, in the ultimate teachings, the instruction is to fulfill duties without attachment to results. How do those two things fit together?
Yeah, that's a great question. And this is where we shift, I think, from the initial shock therapy to the more practical, ongoing philosophy. The early shocking language, abandonment of the world, it's largely metaphorical. It means the complete internal abandonment of desire, of ego, of attachment to outcomes. It doesn't necessarily mean physically retreating from society or your responsibilities.
Okay, so liberation is possible while, living a normal life, doing your job, having a family.
Absolutely. The text clarifies that the liberated person still acts. They fulfill their dharma, their duties, but they aren't driven by greed, ambition, or pride.
The chains we talked about earlier.
Exactly. They perform actions without personal investment in the result because they understand the results are governed by those cosmic dancers. Time and destiny. They are detached in the world, not necessarily detached from the world physically.
That inner detachment, that's the real path to supreme bliss.
That's what the text proposes, yes.
And this path leads to the ultimate goal, the liberated state, the state of supreme bliss, which is explicitly said to be beyond time's reach.
And that ultimate reality is the only thing the sources consider permanent. It's the spirit of spirits, the great one. It's eternal. It's both transcendent and immanent. It dwells in the hearts of everyone.
Wow.
It's the non-dual foundation of everything. Yet, paradoxically, it remains ultimately inaudible, unspeakable, invisible, and unknowable in its real form. It is everything that the transient, attached egoic self is not.
Okay, so we've taken this incredibly harsh, profound, ancient meditation, and we've kind of distilled its core mechanism, severing attachment by contemplating decay and time.
Yeah.
How do we take that raw energy and, apply it to modern life, where we're just bombarded by systems designed to feed the exact attachments Rama attacks?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We can start by looking at how modern society often profits from what Rama calls ignorance. Think about advertising, social media.
Oh, yeah.
They rely almost entirely on two attachments he critiques: the focus on fleeting external praise and the pursuit of transient beauty or image.
That's a powerful connection. The constant feedback loop of social media validation, likes, comments, shares, it directly mirrors that pursuit of external forms that Rama says will inevitably wither.
Exactly.
So applying detachment here would mean constantly recognizing the temporary nature of those external metrics.
Yes, exactly. The source material suggests actively valuing inner growth over appearances. When you really look at it, Rama's critique of chasing physical beauty back then, it's just an older version of our modern anxiety about our digital self-image, our personal brand, our external metrics of success. All of it is temporary, subject to trends, whims, algorithms, and ultimately devoured by time.
Okay, and what about time management? Given that time is this all-devouring rat, if everything is impermanent, we really should invest our resources, our time, in the eternal, shouldn't we?
That's the practical application of contemplation right there. Instead of pouring time into immediate fleeting gratification, whether that's impulsive shopping or endless scrolling or binge watching, we consciously choose activities that promote self-realization, inner detachment. When you choose, say, meditation or deep reflection or meaningful connection over some time-consuming but ultimately empty distraction, you're effectively honoring that eternal spirit over the transient, time-bound self.
Right. And finally, we come back to mortality. Memento mori, remember death. We're constantly urged today to, write a legacy, leave our mark, build something lasting. Yet Rama explicitly shows the futility of creating a permanent physical or historical legacy.
Because the only truly stable legacy is the one you create internally. The reality of death shouldn't inspire fear of oblivion, but rather purposeful living rooted in non-attachment. Instead of worrying about how future generations will remember your career title or your bank account,
Yeah.
focus on the things time cannot touch. Your relationships, your compassion, your inner clarity.
Yeah.
The sources suggest acting meaningfully, like maybe writing a legacy letter to loved ones, focusing on wisdom shared, connections made, rather than just physical stuff amassed.
So this entire deep dive, really chapters 21 through 26, it's a brutal, maybe, but necessary philosophical wake-up call.
It really is.
The egoic self, driven by ambition, desire, clinging to the transient world, it's the architect of its own suffering. That's the core message.
And liberation isn't found by ignoring that suffering or pretending it's not there.
Yeah.
It's found by actively contemplating the reality of time, of impermanence, and using that contemplation to cultivate complete inner detachment, that separation from the unreal things we crave, that's presented as the only stable refuge.
Okay, and here's the final provocative thought that Rama himself provides for you to really chew on, tying together time's destructive power and the ultimate truth of the spirit. He states that time, after sporting, in the act of killing and crushing of all living beings, time comes to lose its own existence and becomes extinct in the eternity of the spirit of spirits.
Wow, even time dissolves.
Right. So if everything, even the supreme destructive force of time itself, ultimately dissolves, becomes extinct in the eternal spirit. What transient aspect of your life, maybe that physical appearance you worry about, that career goal you're obsessed with, that desperate need for social validation, what transient thing are you still mistakenly treating as permanent?